Hello again, it's Guy from KGB Labs. Um, One of the things that wanted to speak about real briefly is if you looked at some of the videos way back in the past and recent ones, is I'm always messing with these Siemens drives. If you're looking at Siemens drives, if you're new to them, you may not understand the design philosophy. And it's sort of important because you'll see me messing with this, typically these S120 drives with a central processing unit, the CU320 control unit. And that unit can do all the advanced functions of the drives, but you may say to yourself, I have a G120. I may even have like a G120C, kind of the lowest powered general purpose drive they have, or I have a G150 or an S110 or whatever drive that you're using. So these videos that show the S120 are worthless to me. It's actually the pretty much the exact opposite. The Siemens philosophy is they have one drive software object. It is the same for all the drives. The lower power general purpose drives simply don't have some of the features. But if you find a feature in the G120, it is the identical feature in the S120, which is the top of the line. Same parameter number, same graphics, it's completely the same. So everything you learn in a G120 all the way up through the S120 is identical. Gives people an advantage like me who don't want to learn 20 different drives. Although I may be working with the feature that isn't available in the G120, that video may not be the most useful to you. Typically, tips for connectivity and the way you navigate around the drive are identical. So don't discount the S120 video if it's talking about features that are in the G120, because they are identical, from programming to the way they actually are executed by the drive itself. This is actually carried all the way into their DC drive family, where most of the features are the same. Even though this drive is AC, the DC drives will keep the same parameters where they can. Obviously, a DC motor and drive do have differences, but a lot of the basic system functionality and regulators and options and pre-programming are the same. So you don't actually have to relearn that even when you go to their DC drive. Kind of an advantage where they actually design and build all the drives themselves. That way they can actually control that, versus farming it out like Rockwell does, where they have different drives by different groups, by different companies. That's why the look feel is, there is no commonality. Every drive you pick up from a Rockwell, it is a different drive. You have to learn it like it was almost from a different company. Because sometimes it is. So that's the reason why we typically integrate with the Siemens drives, is it lowers our load. We don't have to worry about changing technology because we have to address some different type of machine that we're building. It's always the same technology base, and we just make sure that if we need real high performance servo, we go with one of the S drives versus the G. But that's kind of the only real choice that you got to make up front. So anyway, that's one of the things I wanted to explain to make sure you understood that most of these items we talk about are common throughout all the drives. It is also common to the V20 drive and the V90 drive. Those are, I guess, V for value, are drives really meant for India, China, Southeast Asia. But the V20, you can't even plug into it to program it. It's all through the keyboard. So typically we don't use those. Again, you can't, when you build one-offs like we do, you can't continually spend a lot of engineering time doing things that you want to automate and reuse, and you can't really do that if you're sitting there poking parameters in with a keypad on the front. So anyway, hopefully that explains that.